Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So basically from today we are going to start the advanced Python. Right? So in this advanced Python, the first topic that I am going to cover here is the classes and objects, that is OOPS. Okay, so this is the very first topic that I am going to cover here, and after that let's see that what are the topics that we'll be covering. So right now today I'll be telling you that what actually we mean from OOPS, that is object oriented programming, what we actually mean from this, and then what are classes, what are objects, and how to make a class. Okay, these are the topics that I'll be covering today. So right, let's get started here. So first, the thing that I have just like already stored some definitions for you all so that you can have a good look of that and a proper look of that. So basically, Python is a multi-paradigm programming language. It supports different programming approaches, right? We all know this thing about Python, right? That it is a multi-paradigm programming language and it basically supports different programming approaches. Now, basically, one of the popular approaches to solve a programming problem is by creating objects. Okay. Now, in Python, as I just mentioned, that we have many and different programming approaches. Now, from all of that programming approaches, there is one very popular approach for solving a programming problem, and that is basically by creating objects. And that procedure is actually known as object-oriented programming. Okay. So whenever you are solving a problem, solving a programming problem by creating the objects, so that is actually called as object-oriented programming, right? So I hope you must be very clear with the definition that what actually we mean from object-oriented programming. Now, basically we have here that what is an object. Right, now the object has two characteristics, attributes and behavior. Now let's say I'll just give you a very real life example. Let's say I have two pens with me. Okay, I have two pens. Now basically what are the attributes? Attributes means that what are the things that differs both pens, what are the things that what are differences in both of these pens. The differences can be color, difference can be size, difference can be that it is a blue pen or a black pen, and the difference can be of company, right? Basically from which company that pen belongs to. Right, so these are the differences, these are the categories with which we can make a difference between the two pens, right? Now that is actually what we call as attributes. Right, when I just talk about that object has two characteristics, the first one is attribute. So attribute actually means the properties that differentiate between both of the pens. That is actually called as attributes here. And what is the behavior? Behavior actually refers that what is the like what behavior does that object follow. Let's say we had just taken the example for pen. Right, so that pen is basically helps us in writing. Okay, that helps us in writing. So that is the behavior of the pen. Right. So this is the real life example which I have just mentioned here between the pen. That attributes are actually color, size, and basically the company that differentiate both pens with each other. And behavior is that basically it helps us in writing. Now let's take an example for the rabbit. Here I have taken an example for the rabbit. So rabbit is an object. Assume that rabbit is an object, okay? And it has the following properties. Name, age, color. So this name, age, color, these three are acting as the attributes for the rabbit, okay? These are the things that a rabbit contains, right? These are the things that a rabbit contains. A rabbit has name, a rabbit has age, a rabbit has color. Same as when we talked about pen. So pen also has some color, pen also some has company name, pen also some has size, right? So that are the attributes which a object contributes, which a object has in it, okay? And what are the behavior of a rabbit? Rabbit runs, rabbit dance, basically it eats, right? These are the behavior of a rabbit. As same for the pen, that basically pen is like that helps in writing, right? So that is the behavior of the pen. So this is actually which we call as attributes and behavior in the term that is object. Okay, object has two things in it, two characteristics that are attributes and behavior. Now, basically the concept of OOPS, that is object-oriented programming in Python, focuses on creating reusable code. Okay, basically the code which we just create in object-oriented programming, that is actually a kind of reusable code. Okay, now this concept is also known as DRY, that is do not repeat yourself. Now what this actually means very in detail, that we are not going to discuss today. As we move further in this OOPS concept, then we'll be discussing all these things. Now basically here what I can say about the class, till now we had just discussed about the objects, right? Now what I get to say for the class, that a class is a blueprint for the object. For now, just understand, just remember this definition, that a class is a blueprint for the object. Okay, and now here we can just again an example, that we can think of class as a sketch of a rabbit with labels. Right, as I just mentioned for the pen, so we can just think of a class as a sketch of a pen with labels, or as a sketch of a rabbit with labels. It contains all the details about the name, color, size, etc. Based on these descriptions, we can study about the rabbit. So a class actually consists of all the details from which we can study about a particular object. Okay, let's say my pen is my object. Okay, now pen, basically what are the details which we need to know about pen? The color of pen, the size of pen, the company of pen, right? So these are the things that I would be containing inside my class. So class is something, it is something like a sketch, or a sketch of pen, and basically it contains the descriptions. Okay, it contains the descriptions that helps us to study about the object. Same here, I have mentioned about the rabbit, that it contains all the details about the name, color, size, etc. Based on these descriptions, we can study about the rabbit. Right, so I hope now it is very clear to you that basically what is object-oriented programming language, and what is basically class, and what is an object. Right, so from today itself, I'm just moving towards my PyCharm IDE, and we'll be seeing some examples, some program, that how we to just try to make a class and object in Python programming. Fine. Basically, let's say the class that I had made here. So for that class, simply what I'd be using, I'd simply be using class. Okay. So class is one of the keywords that we use for making a class in Python. And the class that I'll be making is, let's say, pen. Okay. So after the class, I'll be writing the name of the class for that which I want to make, and that is pen. I would just calm down and simply I would just write pass here, because right now I'm just not gonna do anything inside the class. That all things we'll be seeing further. Right, now after making a class, if I just not written something inside my class, and if I just come out of my class, what is my very second step that I need to follow here? So the very second step that I need to follow here is that I need to make the object of this class. Okay, now my class is pen. Now the object for that class I need to make. Let's see, the one object I'll be making as black. Okay, let's say black is one of my object that I'll be making for my pen class. So for procedure for making the object, we simply write the name of that object which we want to make. Okay, we put the equal to sign, and after that we write the name of the class for which we are making the object. Okay, for I'm just making my object for pen, so I would just write black is equal to pen. Same for the blue. Let's say I just make two objects here, black and blue. Okay, so these are the two types of pen that I would be having, black pen and my blue pen. Now what next do I have? Now I need to store some attributes, some properties, right, that we had seen previously. I need to store some attributes. So how will I be doing that thing? So basically, if I need to add some attributes to my object, so in that procedure, I'll be adding first the name of my object. Okay, the name for my object is black, right? That I have added, that is black. Now I would put a dot. Now what attribute actually I just want to add here? So let's say I want to add the attribute that is name. Okay, that what is the name of that pen? Okay, black dot name. Fine. So this is the in the starting I have just added my object. I put a dot, and after that I just added my attribute, and that is equal to. And now here I'll be writing the answer for this thing that I have just done here. Okay. So let's say the name for my pen is, let's say, Pentonic. Okay, let's say Pentonic is one name of my black pen. Right. Now basically what the size it is having. Now it is basically of normal size. It is not too much large, and like not too much big, not too much small. For that I would again be using my black, because I'm just writing it for my black object, right? And the attribute is here size. So black dot size, and that I'll be writing here as, let's say, normal. Right. That is done. So let's say name and size. And now let's say I'll be taking one more quantity as one of my more attributes, that how many pen do I have, how many black pen do I have. Okay, I'm just writing the same case for my black object. So I'm writing simply black, put a dot, and now my attribute is quantity. Okay, quantity, and I'll be putting one equal to sign, and let's say quantity I'll be adding here 5. Let's say I have 5 black pens. Right. This is the procedure that I would be following for assigning some attributes to my object. Now same thing I'll be doing for my blue object also. I'll be writing here blue. Okay, blue dot name. If you just want to give some other attributes, you can give some other attributes. If you want to give the same attributes, you can give the same. That totally depends on you, that basically what you want to give here, right? So let's say blue dot name. Let's say the name for my pen is Parker. Okay, blue dot the blue pen which I'm having, the name for that pen is Parker, right? I would just come down. So okay, again I'll just use here blue. Blue is the name of my object on which I'm working, and the attribute which I'll be using here is size. Okay, now again I'll be just writing here as normal. Fine, again I'll be just writing the quantity. Quantity is my third attribute that I'll be using for my blue object. So blue dot, and here I'll be using quantity. Okay, quantity, right? And that is equal to, let's say I have 10. Okay, so here I have just mentioned all the objects and the attributes for that object. Right, now if I just want to see something in the output, let's say I just want to get the output from blue dot name, then how will I be doing that thing? Simply I'll be using my print statement, and inside that I'll be using blue dot name. Simply this is the procedure for getting the output. So I will just run it here and see now here. Basically what output did I got? I got the output here as Parker. Let me come down and show you this thing. So blue dot name was containing Parker in it, right? So I just got that Parker here. Now if I just want multiple outputs to come at a time, let's say I want to run blue dot name, and even I just want to run black dot name and all that thing, I would simply separate all of these things using a comma. So here I can just write that, let's say I will just write black dot let's say black dot size. Okay, and here I just put a comma, and here let's say I would just write blue dot quantity. Okay, yes, blue dot quantity. Now basically what I'll be just doing is that I would again be running it here for a while. Now have a look that basically what I just got here. Firstly what we had written, let me tell you that from here, blue dot name. So name for my blue dot name was Parker, right? That I have got. Black dot size. So size for black was normal. Okay, that is also fine. After that I have blue dot quantity. So the quantity for my blue pen was 10. Right, so that I have just got it here. Now this is basically how we can make the objects for the classes, right? Here I simply made one of my class. The name for that class was pen, and I did not wrote anything inside that class, so simply I used the pass. After that, I made two objects for my classes, for my class, that is pen, and that are black and blue. After that, I added several attributes to my class, that is pen. I added several attributes. Let's say that attributes are name, size, quantity. Right, now here basically one more thing comes. Let me quickly add that here, that if I do not give similar attributes to both of them. Let's say in the black object I have given 3 attributes, and let's say in the blue one if I give 4. So nothing will happen basically. Okay, that will not impact anything. Let me just give you an example here. So if I just write blue dot, and let's say basically I will be writing blue dot work. Okay, blue dot work. That basically what is the work for that? I'm just taking it for writing. Okay, WRITING. I just take it for writing, and basically here I'll be just like removing all of these things, and here I'd be adding blue, and I would just do here work. Okay, blue dot work, and now simply I would just run it. So basically I would not be getting any error here. Simply I would be just getting the output that it is having, that I'm having here, and that is writing. Okay, so this is the main procedure that we follow for making the objects and the attributes of that objects, right? There is no such rules, no such fast rule that basically if you are having three attributes in the first object, then you can make 3 attributes in the second also. No, you can make n number of attributes, whatever you just want in any of the objects. Right, so I hope this must be very clear to you that what actually object-oriented programming is, what are classes, what are objects, and how do we make the classes and objects in Python programming language. Right, so this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care.